Prior to the Civil War, the country was on the edge of dividing into two separate countries, known as the Confederate States of America and the Union. The rising issue between the states is about slavery and if the South had the right to secede. After Lincoln's victory at the 1860 election, he spread a message about anti-slavery, and the southern states felt it was time to leave the Union. The first state to leave was South Carolina, and was followed by Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Louisiana. The Confederate States of America elected Jefferson Davis as president. All of these events led to a debate between Lincoln and Davis about the issue of preserving the Union and secession.
7 years ago, our founding fathers established the Declaration of Independence and ratified the Constitution so that we could all live in America in harmony.
Yes, indeed, that is true. However, the Declaration of Independence states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new governments."
It is true, however, my cabinet and I never found the intention of abolishing slavery nor corrupting the government. We only intend to preserve the Union and continue our founding fathers' legacy. You are the one who is corrupt, using any scapegoats to leave the Union and create your own country, and have your own rules when you do not like ours. You assume we will end slavery and ruin your way of life, but instead, we are trying to improve the American way of life for the people.
You really expect me to believe your words? You're trying to take our property and get us back into the Union, but no more. We now are the Confederate States of America, and we have our own Constitution which allows slavery to continue. We will thrive better than you because we are a country with equality, with many more opportunities than your Union.
Really, if all men were created equal, then why would the South enslave African Americans to do their work for them? Wouldn't that make the African Americans unequal? Aren't you being very hypocritical about your Constitution?
African Americans aren't people. They're property. They don't even have the right to deserve equality.
Why would you need to enslave the African Americans to do the work for you?
We are mainly based on agriculture. We depend on the slaves to help us flourish. Making compromises on slavery and potentially abolishing slavery will prevent us from thriving, which is one of the main reasons why we left the Union in the first place.
How would the abolishment of slavery prevent the South from thriving?
Plantation owners would make less money, and we would have to hire workers to work on our plantations. Because slaves, they don't get paid. All they get paid with is food and shelter.
That is against the Constitution. Every man has equal rights.
Slaves are property. Nowhere in the Constitution says I am allowed to enslave these people, so I've taken the liberty to do what is not said in the Constitution. If the Founding Fathers wrote we were not allowed to take these people in to do our work, then maybe the South would have hired workers instead of slaves. But now, my people bought the slaves with their own money. They should be able to use them because that's what property is for. They are human labor.
They're people too. We're no different except our skin color.
If we truly are not different, why are we different color? God has made these men into who they are. If they were gifted and not lazy, they would be a white man. But God has punished those who are lazy with work and adversity. Can't you see it's God's doing? You should be blaming Him and not the South. We are just doing God's work.
God has nothing to do with this. This is about you leaving the Union and using the slaves as a gateway. You cannot truly leave. Our founding fathers wrote the Constitution and Bill of Rights for us, and by leaving you are defying their rule and hard work to unite us all into one country. Now we are on the verge of becoming separate countries. We should stay united because we depend on each other economically, and we need your agricultural success.
You need us, but we don't need you. We soon will have alliances with Britain and France because they will want our cotton production. Nowhere in the Constitution states we have to stay with the Union.
I guess the only way to resolve this is war, but I warn you, the North is much more advanced than the South. We have better weapons and soldiers.
Yes, but remember our war against Britain? We didn't have that much equipment either, and we still won. Our spirit will be stronger than yours, and that is all we need in this war.
Alright, get ready to lose. I'll see you on the battlefield.
Alright, okay, let's have a war then. Let's have a freaking war.
In the debate between Lincoln and Davis, Davis was given the victory. However, this didn't prevent President Lincoln from doing what he intended to do: save the Union. Lincoln's concern was to save the Union, not to abolish slavery. Since there were many differences between the North and the South, a civil war was required. During the Civil War, President Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address at the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. In 272 words and 3 minutes, Lincoln asserted the nation was not born in 1789, but in 1776, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. He defined the war as an effort dedicated to these principles of liberty and equality for all. The emancipation of slaves was now part of a national war effort. This gave Lincoln and the North a great advantage, which in the end helped them win the war.